Welcome to Blueprint IoT and welcome to the 6-month Starlink mini review. As you can see, I had it in use with my van. I was on the road. I used it in cities, everything. But here you can see already the first problem on the horizon. So let's tackle all those problems to figure out if Starlink mini is the right choice for you. So one of the biggest problems is actually the alignment of the Starlink. I was here in a house and I had a balcony and I had the Starlink right there on the balcony. But Starlink was telling me to orientate the Starlink towards the house. So while we have a 110-degree angle or field of view, actually a big portion of this was against the wall of the house. So just having a clear view to the sky is not really what you need, because I had a clear view to the sky on the left side, but not on the right side in this scenario. So the actual usable area was way diminished. It was only this portion, which in my little example would equal around 60 degrees. So 60 degrees out of 110 degrees leaves you with only around 55% of actual usable field of view. And while this maybe sounds like a dumb example, or like, yeah, you should have known or whatever, so kind of you're buying a Starlink mini, especially because it's portable and you can use it everywhere. Of course, you can't use it maybe in a skyscraper city, but I was really here in like a suburb neighborhood. I really had a huge field of view towards the sky in the other direction, but I had to point it against the house. And on the other side, I had simply no opportunity. Actually, there were some windows, but there was nothing where I could fix it or something. And I was already at almost the top floor here, the top floor except the roof itself. So I think it's already a kind of a very good spot that you could have, or like a very likely spot, or let's say it's much more likely that you have a much worse spot. So coming back to what we started with at the vacation here on the lake in Switzerland, so a lot of mountains around, I had again a big and great field of view towards the sky, which I was lucky enough that Starlink was asking me to point towards the sky. But as you can see here on the left side again, there was just a big mountain. And I mean, while you could argue that you could test Starlink mini when you are at home or something to see where you can point it at, if you're like me on the road and you just pop it up, you can't really influence where you can park, whatever. So it's not guaranteed that you can always use it on the road, just wherever you want. That kind of what is the punchline of Starlink mini use case. Taking a look at the app here, you can see that you have this little nice sphere there that's indicating where you have a good view and not a good view. You can see only a small portion was here out of the field of view, and it's giving you this little graphic where you can align the Starlink mini. So it's not just, let's say, the left, right, north-south angle, it's also the pitch that you need to take care of, and all this makes it very, let's say, very tight within what you can, where you can move it. So you really have to follow the rules, what Starlink is telling you where to point it to get a good connection. And here you can see only the +5 seconds blackouts. So you can see it's not like here we have 36 seconds, even though I didn't move it at this point. 5 seconds here we can see all the small glitches, which is totally fine for streaming. It's no problem because you can buffer. But if you're on a video call, you're continuously dropping out for 5 seconds, for 10 seconds or 3 seconds, it's getting really awkward and not really usable at this point. Another example here from another location is here, and again, I had to point it kind of against the house. Again, I was at the top floor at the penthouse, so that's already, I think, a prime location to use it. But again, I had to point it a little bit against the house, so I have still a lot of blackouts here, so not continuous connection. The second one is this Ethernet connection. You can see I already cut here this little rubber piece on the left hand side of the connector to actually be able to get it into the Starlink. But let me zoom in here a little bit. That's the Ethernet connector, and what you can see is there is simply no room for the actual connector or for the little locking mechanism. So here you can see me, sorry for the shaky video, because I was really trying hard here at this point to remove the cable because I wanted to take it on a trip, and you can't physically can't access the locking mechanism of the Ethernet cable. But I think it's very important that you have this locking mechanism, especially if you have Starlink on a pole or something. There is movement, vibration, you could lose the cable. So you need to keep the locking mechanism, but you really physically can't access it to unlock it. So yeah, I think that's a huge downside. I had to use a knife, and even a screwdriver was too big to get into this very small edge there. Here you can see like improvised setup here for me to hook it up and give it a little bit of a better height that I can see more above the building. It looks beautiful. It is very fast, but huge downsides. Again, you need to point it where Starlink wants you to point it, which will hopefully get better as more satellites get added, because then you're maybe not so much constrained to look in a certain direction. This would ease a big pain point that I had several times now, and is actually a reason that you can't really use it as your permanent internet at home or even on a trip, because you never know if you have a good like blackout free connection, and if you use it for business, if you use it for work, you can't just drop out in a video call of 1 hour 5 times for 5 seconds. It's just not acceptable. And the other big point is the Ethernet port. Especially the Starlink Mini has the Wi-Fi hotspot built in, so you're normally not really having a good Wi-Fi signal. It seems like not a very strong hotspot, so you need to have your extra hotspot or your separate hotspot connected via Ethernet. And if you can't remove the cable, the whole mobility type of thing, being able to just pop it out, pop it into your bag and go on a trip is not really there. If you always need a knife, you may hurt yourself. You really have no way to unplug the Ethernet port is really a big downside. And this is really like bad design. I mean, come on, this is like absolutely obvious that this can't work. At this point, I'm just asking myself, did the guys test their product at all? That's my review of the 6 months. Thanks for watching, and please let me know down in the comments what do you think about those glitches. If you're using Starlink Mini yourself, what's your experience? Or if you're using the Starlink standard, the bigger one, and if you have similar problems or how it's working out there. I would be really interested in knowing if it's worth upgrading, or if just I'm having a huge problem here and the only one, or if there are more people out there with the same problems. So thanks for commenting, thanks for watching, and see you next time.